Hi, I'm glad to speak to you, and hopefully that your questions will be answered. And I feel it's really like a compliment that you asking me to do all these videos, right? So.
All right. Why do you teach chemistry?
I explained this a few times to the other kids. I think of all the science subjects that we teach here, I'm not trying to make fun of the other classes, right? I think chemistry is the one that makes the biggest impact in your daily life. Because for instance, when are you really going to ever use earth science in your daily life, right? Earth science is earth science. Or biology, unless you become a doctor, maybe. Or physics, like if you become an engineer. But most of you're going to come into contact with items, with stuff, and you need to understand what that stuff is made of. How come some stuff acts the way that it does? How come some stuff conducts electricity? How come some stuff is poisonous for you? How come some stuff is nutritious for you? That's what chemistry is all about. Knowing what the stuff is. So the reason why I'm energized about teaching it is because I think it really, you know what relevant means? I think it's relevant in your life. So, not to say that all the other stuff is not relevant, but I think chemistry is the most relevant. And obviously if you ask the other teachers, they're going to say the same thing. But for me, I think it's relevant in your life. Okay, go ahead.
You know, your story is a really interesting one because you know the way you were like a doctor before you became a teacher. So like, what made you leave like such a profession that everyone wants to be in? Like everyone wants to get their doctorate degree.
It's funny because they asked me that a few hours ago, and I said to them, you know what happens when you're a doctor nowadays? Your boss is the insurance company. Whereas when I went in medical school, I wanted to be my own boss. And now what the insurance company tells you what you can do, what you can't do, how much they're going to pay you for, how much they're not going to pay you for. Sometimes they even penalize you if you don't do what they tell you. So essentially you're like working for an insurance company. And that's not right. I didn't want to do that. And there's no reward because what happens is if a patient gets better, they don't come back and say, you know what, thank you for helping me. They don't come back. They're just like, okay, that's what you were supposed to do. There's no more reward in it for me. And I didn't want to be working for an insurance company. So it's a valid reason. And I still encourage kids to go into medicals because I think it's a great job. But for me, I found my better energy comes from being able to teach in high school.
How was your college experience learning chemistry?
I was actually, remember when I told you when I was in high school, we'll go back to high school. And when I was in high school, I was really bad at algebra. And you remember how much algebra is involved in chemistry? That's because I think my brain was not mature enough yet. I was one of those kids, you know, how we teach chemistry to UD2s. I was a UD1 when I took it. So my brain wasn't ready for it yet. So I had a horrible time. And so when I was taking college chemistry, I was still a little immature and I still had to struggle through it. But then the last part is that when I finally took the 4 semesters of chemistry and organic chemistry in medical school, I was finally old enough that my brain could handle it. And all that stuff that I was laughing about when I was in high school and in college, I was like, I have no idea how to understand this. I finally figured it out. I guess it's just a matter of your brain being mature enough. That's true, by the way, for a lot of the subjects that you take in college, in high school right now. You won't understand it until you get into college. So you're gonna have to trust someone.
To add on to Demi's question, so like you, like being a doctor, do you think that like opened up other doors?
Oh yeah.
Like,
all the experiences I've ever had, to be able to bring it to here, to St. Benedict's, and not just the experience of teaching in class and what I learned in medical school, think about all the other experiences I had being a photographer, right? That's what I bring to be able to take photographs for the yearbook, right? And then another experience that I had, my parents made me learn how to play the piano, right? That's another experience that I bring to St. Benedict's. So all these childhood experiences that I had in the past are all related to what I can do for St. Benedict's and for the students who are here, right? I hope that answers your question.
So a main theme in Mr. Audubato's class is the personalist and pragmatic view. So, how do you feel like what you're teaching can lead people closer to God?
Science doesn't know all the answers. And one of the things we have to be humble about as humans is we don't know everything. As much as science has advanced so far, we don't know enough to completely understand what life is all about. And so, in a certain sense, creation is just God showing us how wonderful our earth is. And so we can understand it slowly. We can understand God slowly by what He has created. So by studying creation through science, we can understand how great God has been to all of humankind and how irresponsible we have been about not taking care of this earth. Right? And you know, Pope Francis talks about that all the time. It's like we were given this gift called the earth, and what have we been doing to it? We've been polluting it. We've been destroying it. And maybe by studying chemistry, we'll be able to understand how we should be able to conserve it. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
I love it, Dylan.
Thank you.
All right. Well, good luck with this midterm.
Thank you.